right, hey everyone, welcome back. We have special guests with us, Grandmaster Eugene Perlstein. Thanks, Eugene, for joining us today.
Yeah, hey guys.
Hopefully, people know you very well from
Yep,
previous streams.
I've been a guest on this channel for many shows.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to be covering the second round of the U.S.-Canada match. Jesse Sensei, that's right.
Yes, we've worked a little bit on openings with him.
Nice. Yeah, we're just following this last game here. The first round where King Mora probably should be winning the rook endgame. 2 extra pawns. And then the round 2 games, a few of them have already started. So, yeah, it looks like this one is game over for black. So King Mora gets the point there for the US team.
Congrats.
Yeah, very cool. So that means, okay, after round 1, the official score, I think 4-2 in favor of the US. So Team Canada has to catch up in the second round. All the players should rematch each other, and yeah, then we'll have the second round going. 3 games already started in the second round. I think we're waiting on 3 more. And yeah, I'm not sure if the players have started their games yet. But oh, there we go. There's another game. Let me link you this one as well, and then we'll start bouncing around. And guys, we're going to look at Jesse's game as well. He did make moves on the board.
Yeah, I'm watching his game too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so we'll keep you guys updated on that, and we'll see Jesse's game also. Oh, one sec, Eugene. I need to fix something in my stream, but let's go to the game. Maybe we could look at the King's Indian position between AFM Hughes, if you have that game open.
Yep, I do.
Okay, cool. Oh wow, crazy position. Yeah, what do you think about this one?
Looks okay for black at the moment. The bishop on d5 is a little scary, of course. But can black just simply take the pawn on b4? And he took it.
Yeah, he took.
So unless there is something scary happening, looks like black is fine. Like I can see bishop coming to c5, d4. Maybe it's around equal. Neither side can sort of make serious progress with those 2 bishops, opposite colors. b7 is a little weak, but I don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah, like one bishop on d5, the other bishop going to d4.
I really haven't seen bishop on d5 against bishop on d4 in King's Indian.
Yeah.
Okay, rook e3 is a serious attempt at checkmating black here. So maybe this is actually quite serious problem for black.
Yeah.
With rook g3 coming in, he has to play king g7. Maybe he can hold. But yeah, I'm a little bit scared for that bishop, rook, and maybe queen, and maybe the h-pawn joining the party.
Right.
Some pressure.
Yeah.
For sure there is more pressure here that white can put up. Rook d8, I don't really understand the point of that move, really. It's not like he is threatening the bishop. Maybe rook g3 can swing over. I think the bishop on b4 had to be redirected quickly.
Okay, now queen g4, turning queen takes g6.
For those who are paying attention, there is an immediate threat already.
Yeah.
So black has to play maybe king g7. Okay, king g7, I think he's holding. I don't see any mates.
Eugene, do you have any thoughts on avocados? The chat is really torn on this.
Yeah, chat is really, I mean, I'm a big fan of avocados. Oh no!
Oh no!
He didn't listen to us.
Well, I have to mention this kid Likan Pictus Chess Latte. He's been playing literally all day. He had a rivals match earlier, which was six
Oh wow,
games. He played in our coaching show, which was like a rapid game, and now he's playing this one. So he's probably pretty
definitely a
tired.
big mess up. Yeah, King G7 I think he should have played, and he's okay. But now he's just getting mated. It's a forced mate, guys.
Yeah, just Rook G3. Yeah, just missed the trick. Oh no, big one.
And it was kind of obvious that White's intention was just go directly attack the king, so he probably just got tired and didn't even pay attention to his opponent's threats. Yep, that's GG.
Yeah, tough one. Okay,
Tough game.
so Latte or AFM Hughes wins that one for Canada.
Yep.
So he actually scores 2-0 in his mini match. Canada gets 3 now.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, let's jump to another game. Oh, looks like Jeff won his second game against Juste Raison. So let me update that as well. Okay, that's a point for Team US. So now 5-3 in US's favor.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay, 2 more games here. We have Rennick against Aaron and Tuan against Checkmate before Material.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Tuan game right now.
Cool. So this was Rui Lopez. C3, early C3, knight takes E4. Black tries to get away, taking the pawn. But White gets it back with Rook E1, knight takes E5, so no big
Yeah,
deal.
this is all standard stuff. Black is doing okay, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is a little bit scary with this bishop on D6 and knight on F6. Looking, but I think White's got it under control at the moment. Now, if White can get the bishop to maybe G5, I think he's completely fine. It feels like he is behind a couple tempi somehow, and he's White. So something has gone bad. I don't know quite what. Maybe the C3 move wasn't the best in that specific. I'm not a big expert on this line, but it feels quite wrong. H6 is very clever to stop bishop G5.
Yeah, I like H6. Yeah,
So now the problem is it is symmetrical positions. You usually get them with the reverse color. You typically get it against the French, with White being the side that gets the slightly better version of them.
Right.
But now it's the reverse, and now Black is enjoying the slight advantage. And that bishop on C1, if it goes to E3, just a very passive piece,
Mm-hmm.
then Black just sort of plays natural moves, Queen D7, Rook E8, Knight E4, and just takes over the initiative.
Right.
So it's quite, you know, people I think are always thinking, oh, it's symmetrical, it's equal, but it's definitely far from equal. White is struggling.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big struggle here, uphill here for White.
Okay, bishop E3, Queen D7. Yeah, now actually there's no more Queen D3 to kind of unpin.
Yeah, and I really like this Knight E4, F5 plan.
Mm.
Just to get this bind. This is, I don't know, with the right, how would you call that bind, the Knight E4 with the pawns? Is that the Philidor or the Pillsbury
Oh yeah.
triangle?
I always think of it like either Pillsbury or Stonewall.
Yeah, so that's my kind of plan here for Black.
But honestly, it reminds me of like Petrov defense. I feel like Black often does this, like Knight E4, F5. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, it's like a good Petrov or reversed exchange French gun bad for White.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we also have Rennick against Aaron.
Okay, let's take a look at that game.
Yes, this was Grunfeld.
Aha, this is some mainline stuff.
Oh yeah.
This is like old mainline. Bishop G4, I think, was tested in Karpov-Kasparov, if not mistaken.
Right. I remember they had some games like Knight A5, Bishop takes F7 check.
And also Bishop G4 followed by Bishop D7 back, if I'm not mistaken, was recommended by Svidler in his original Grunfeld course a long time ago, before his new one on Chessable.
Right.
So it looks like Black knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, Following
And
settler.
white's is as well. This bishop f4 is known, and e5 I think is the right reaction. Yeah, I think looks like black is just blitzing this out. Looks like he's in his prep.
Yeah, I think he's doing quite okay here. I would expect bishop g3 from white, but maybe some
There's some
tactics.
nuance why pawn on f3 is bad now.
Right.
Some diagonal issues, I feel like.
Yeah.
Maybe cd, knight takes d4.
Right.
And then the bishop on c4 gets loose, and then some other issues happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't quite know what the theory here for white is, but I know black looks like okay here.
I think, yeah, it feels like black is definitely okay. Real quick, guys, let me mention that we are raising funds for charity today. All of the donations for our streams today are headed towards pancreatic cancer research. We teamed up with a bunch of other streamers to support this foundation known as Pank One. They have previously actually, I think they're part of a larger organization that has done work with like prostate and breast and skin cancer, and now they're hoping to make things better for those suffering from pancreatic cancer as well. So if you guys have anything you're able to donate, of course, that is much appreciated. We can see we already raised, I believe this is our donations alone. We've raised over $600 so far on this day. So yeah, much appreciated to everyone. Okay, bishop g3 on the board. Oh, we have another result. Banana Stand looks like lost to Nargayev, aka Morphe fan. So that mini match gets tied 1-1. Another point for Team Canada, which brings us to 4-5. Very close match.
Very close.
So it's just going to come down to these two games, and also there should be a second game from King Mora. Let's see. Yeah, here's one more game, Eugene. So we should
let me see if I have the King Mora game.
3 games left.
Maybe you can send me the King Mora.
Yeah, just.
Okay, let's take a look at that one.
So this was Scandi.
Shout out to all the Scandi fans. Although this is, I believe, called the Portuguese variation. This bishop g4, very rare line.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, it was played by Kobian in the U.S. Chess Championship against Caruana, maybe.
Oh yeah, that sounds right.
A long time ago, but yeah, very risky opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, bishop e2 is actually a simpler way to handle this line, with the idea to trade the bishops and then don't care about the d pawn. f3 is the more theoretical move. And knight takes e2 is unusual. I believe queen takes e2, knight f3 is the more common plan, followed by castles and then push the c pawn.
Right.
This is slightly unusual, and it looks like, yeah, black just plays e5 and says, you know, I'm not really worse anymore. And once again, we have a case of the move c3 backfiring, right? Interesting how in 2 games this slow improving center move never really worked. It's just too slow.
And now in the second game, I mean, feels like black is totally fine, just completely equal.
If anyone is better, it could be black, because the bishop on c1 is still behind. And black just needs to put a knight on d3, get the bishop out, double the rooks, right? Very unpleasant position. How are you going to get the bishop out?
Yeah, it could be really dangerous. Yeah, for white. Absolutely.
And if black later plays c5, maybe c4, protect that knight on d3, it's going to be called the Octopus Knight, the famous Kasparov Knight.
Right. What are your thoughts?
That's a tough knight to get rid of.
On the Scandi in general? Are you a fan, or?
I'm a big fan of the Scandi, more of the queen takes d5, queen a5 lines, because I feel like, especially at the club level, if black knows the plan, it's going to be like a good Caro-Kann, and you avoid all those advanced Caro-Kanns that are really annoying these days. I've played it myself against Mitch in a match that Jesse made me play.
Oh yeah.
With Scandi. And I won my game rather easily against Mitch because he castled kingside, and he just played the most normal moves for white, and black just got his plan with c6, e6, bishop f5 or bishop g4, and I just got a dream position. So I feel like it's one of those openings that gets a bad rap, but in reality, it's actually quite difficult for white to get an edge, especially if white doesn't play the most principal lines where they castle queenside and try to use the extra tempo.
Right. Okay, knight d3 on the board.
Yeah, knight takes c1 is a huge threat.
Yeah.
But king more should see it. So I predict maybe knight e4 or knight f3 and try to get the bishop out. But b2 is weak, not easy.
Yeah, no, it looks really difficult for white now. Bishop comes to c5 and then...
yeah, black is doing really well with bishop c5 idea.
Wow.
Problem with knight e4, you may get hit with f5. Not very stable square.
Yeah.
Again, simple position, symmetrical position, but looks so difficult, right? So don't be surprised, guys, that symmetry is not always easy. Even GMs have hard time defending this.
Right. Okay, so let's see. Tuan against checkmate. Something happened here. Ooh, white grabbed the pawn on a6. And why not? At least if you're gonna be worse.
Yeah, he has bishop b5 threat.
Right.
So black has to be... Black just doesn't care with knight g5.
Yeah.
Oh, and white just plays knight bishop e2. Interesting. None of these moves are super easy to predict.
Yeah, but bishop
Maybe
e2...
bishop e2 is pretty solid, actually.
Very solid, indeed.
Because keep in mind, if massive trades happen, it favors white. White's basically got his a pawn. So maybe black got a little too risky.
Yeah.
He didn't have to play this rook a e8 at all.
Right.
He could have played any move, f5, right? A5 even. I think he got a little too happy with his attack and might have blundered. But knight g5, bishop e2 was quite solid. And now what is black? Rook takes e3 sacks don't work. Knight takes f3, bishop takes f3. Bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, queen takes a4. The d5 pawn hangs at the end.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It looks like black has misplayed this already. And that's why he plays knight e4, admits his mistake. So white basically stole a pawn.
Yeah, but now there's bishop b5, right?
Exactly. Now bishop b5 is on the agenda. Black is gonna have to play queen f5, sack the exchange, and definitely he's not... I mean, he's got some small threats, but I'm not even sure if it's serious enough.
Yeah. Well, he's just living up to his username. You know, he's going for mate.
Checkmate before material. That's true. He has to sack some material, right, guys? Otherwise, it's not gonna be... Otherwise, it's not gonna be true to his name.
Yeah. But big time pressure. They have 5-second increment, so that's good. But yeah, he's under a minute. So that's gonna be very tough. Yeah, white thinking about it. Yeah, very tight match, guys. 3 games left. It's 5-4 in favor of the U.S. And but this game looking in Canada's favor. I feel like very likely white wins this one. Rennick versus Aaron. Let's see. I mean, generally I've mainly played against the Grunfeld. I'm not like a huge Grunfeld player myself, but I don't know. This one looks very, very tricky to evaluate.
My very first Grunfeld game, Kostya, I played... You would not have guessed when I played my very first Grunfeld game over the board as black. I played it at the Isle of Man.
Oh.
in 2017.
I was gonna say like 1990.
No. Yeah, somehow I just was always a King's Indian player and then Nimzo and Bogo player, and I never really experimented with the Grunfeld until I prepared it for some tournament. Oh, I know. I prepared for Millionaire Challenge tournament. Actually, yeah, that's when I first played it. But that was a sideline against a Kobian. And the history in that game is that I was losing at some point, and then I came back in the end game, and there was a weird end game Well, it was a dead draw. I had a queen and maybe 1 or 2 pawns broken up against queen and knight. And he didn't really have any tricks, and I lost on time.
Oh no.
It was, I think, the 3rd Millionaire Challenge that Maurice Ashley organized.
Right.
But the mainline Grunfeld happened at the Isle of Man, and I was black, and I believe I was winning, but again, I couldn't find the win. It was a draw. I don't think I won with the Grunfeld. That was my second outing, and then I lost again with the Grunfeld some other tournament. So I think I've only played it 3 times in my life, or maybe 4 times. Maybe 4 times.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's not an easy opening to play.
Yeah, I feel like for either side, it's like pretty tough. I really like White's last move though, Bishop F2. Just turning Bishop
So
B6.
can someone explain why Knight takes D4 was bad?
Oh,
If Knight takes Queen takes C4, maybe Bishop takes F7? No. Then Rook takes F7, Knight D4, Queen C5, intermezzo.
yeah.
Yeah, this Knight takes D4 idea is very common. The idea is discover attack on the Bishop on C4.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he didn't like about this one.
Well, it's pretty straightforward, but yeah, this Rook FD8 is also a good looking move.
Yeah, Black spent 3 minutes there, so he was definitely calculating something. Seems like.
But it looks like he's definitely getting some counterplay, but it's not the kind of play that I'm a big fan of, with that massive pawn chain, G2, F3, E4, D5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the bishop on G7 is pretty much dead. White's got bishop on F2, which is a good piece. But okay, Black's got that pawn on B5. If pawn takes, he can take even with the bishop. And maybe bishop F8, bishop C5. If he reroutes that bishop, he's fine.
Yeah. Oh, someone's suggesting knight takes D4, queen takes D4. Maybe that was the point.
Oh, that was clever, actually.
Very clever. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's cute.
Notice that, yeah, the queen takes D4 ED, bishop takes C7, rook C8. Rook takes B7 is the key intermezzo there, right?
The
Stopping the...
Yeah.
Because you can't move the bishops because C4 bishop hangs.
Right.
Rook takes B7. And... yeah, that seems to work.
Yeah,
That's
I don't see it
interesting.
for black. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like these guys know what they're doing, maybe. At least they're calculating, which is good. Queen D3 is a kind of unusual move. What if pawn takes A4, bishop B5 threat? Bishop B5. Pawn takes A4 is not quite as good because bishop B6, guys.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have time to play bishop B5 because queen and knight and the rook, everyone is getting forked.
Yeah, this pawn is kind of pinned on the B file.
So this queen D3 is actually a tricky move.
Yeah.
Inviting B takes A, and then there's a tactic.
And he's setting up rook FC1, so maybe for black it's really time to go like bishop H6. Activate that bishop.
Bishop H6 just to stop rook FC1. Yep, I like that. Okay, and then black is quite solid, right? The D pawn is blocked at the moment. White can't really use his knight to create any damage. Pawn takes B5, bishop takes B5. Yeah, I'm kind of, this position is growing on me. Bishop H6. Maybe black is okay after all.
Yeah, still at least playable. I'm not sure. I don't know. I always feel more comfortable kind of with white here with the space.
And then knight C4.
Yeah, knight C4, knight D6, yeah.
I do believe in black's dynamic potential here. And normally, yeah, if white cuts all the counterplay, this past D5 pawn is annoying. By the way, this rook FC8 may allow D6. So he's always has to watch out for the D pawn. I've been taught you gotta blockade the pawns.
Right.
But yeah, rook DC8, maybe D6 is not the end of the world. But it is definitely scary with that bishop on A2 opening up.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, he might want like queen C2, but it feels
A little
very
scary.
dangerous. Yeah. So rook C1 first, but now black can go queen D6 at least.
Yeah, queen D6. Again, hard to kick the queen out. White does have to be a little careful about massive trades because black does have that passed pawn. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any immediate danger. Okay, maybe Bishop. No, but bishop e1, bishop b4 is too slow, right? It weakens the diagonal.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you don't want to take on b5 either. So this is a tough position to be in as white, because you don't have a super simple move right now, and the time is dwindling down for Renek here.
Right. Yeah, he has to find some plan here. It does feel like he kind of missed a chance maybe with d6. I mean, queen c2 of course was a very concrete problem, so I don't know. Maybe there was not a clear solution there for white.
Where's that handle Aaron? Is that the what's that comedy? The
Key and Peele.
Yeah, is that from that show, from that episode?
I think it is. I always joke about it with him.
Yeah.
He's in the chat.
I'm like, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. What a great sketch. Okay, let's jump to Tuan again, because now both players are in pretty heavy time trouble. And this game just looks... well, it still looks, tricky, but feels like position's so open. Should be good for white, right, with the extra exchange.
Yeah, nobody knows the story why Jesse was late. People are discussing it a little bit on the chat.
Oh, I assume he just missed up the mixed up round times. Yeah. It is tough in these tournaments because it's like first round is like 7 p.m. The next round is like 5 or like 6 or like 4:30. Like they often switch it up.
But also, like, you're supposed to get a text with pairings, and the text should tell what time. So I'm kind of surprised.
Usually it does. Yeah. Yeah, he must have. Mixed it
I
up.
do have a funny story. I was playing at some big tournament, and then my opponent, strong grandmaster Conrad Holt, which I have another story about him before he became a grandmaster, but he overslept, and he came back to the late, and he lost. He forfeited. That's how he got a. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So he was just too late. I see. Yeah, the rule generally is you have an hour to show up for the game before you're forfeited.
Although for some tournaments it's half an hour.
Yeah.
It used to be an hour, but then they changed it. And I don't know what it is for. I'm assuming it's still an hour for Cherry Blossom, but yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, I'm looking on my phone, Jesse's game a little bit here too. It's still somewhat of a fight. Still complex middle game. But the thing is, if you don't actually play the game, let's say you're playing in an IM norm or GM norm tournament and your opponent is a no-show, the entire, like, even if you get a point, right, the win, that game doesn't count toward the norm. That means instead of a 9-rounder, you played an 8-rounder. That means you can't get a norm.
That's right.
So that's why in these major US tournaments, all the foreign grandmasters are incentivized to finish all 9 games, even if they're doing poorly, and then they get their appearance fee.
Right. Yeah, that's usually part of the deal. You got to play all the games.
You got to play all the games, right? So even if a grandmaster shows up and makes one move and resigns and leaves, that counts. But if it's a no-show, if it's a no-show, you can't get credit for that win, unfortunately. The rating doesn't even count, guys. You don't get any rating.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the story about Conrad Holt. I'm not sure if I told you the story, Kostya. So I'm playing him when he was like 2370 or so, 2300 in Chicago Open. And I'm white, right? And it's I'm playing some random kid. I'm playing the Exchange Slav. I'm going to torture him, right? And then on the Exchange Slav, I get completely outplayed by black. And okay, Exchange Slav is not an opening where you typically get totally outplayed, right?
Yeah.
But he played some tricky system, and I get outplayed. I try to fight back, and I just get outcalculated in every line. He just crushes me. I think like under 30 moves, or within 30 moves.
Wow.
I'm like, I lost to this random kid. So then it gets better. We go into the Skittles room.
Uh-huh.
So for those of you who are not sure what Skittles room is, it's a room where you analyze your games, like post-mortem games with your opponent. It's a kind of a lively atmosphere. People talk about their ideas, their moves. So we analyze the game with him. And so I ask him, where are you from? He's from Wichita, Kansas, in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But for those of you who have heard of famous chess, there were some funny chess stories in Wichita, Kansas, going back to some Final Four college days. They used to have this Lindsberg GM tournament for a while. Anyway, so I asked him, where are you from? He's like, okay, Wichita, Kansas. Do you have a coach? Nope. I say, okay, like, how do you, like, how you study chess? And he's like, yeah, I just play chess on ICC.
Right.
And then he says something like this. He's like, yeah, chess is my new favorite game, like my new favorite, like somebody says, I like this video game.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, chess is my new favorite game.
Wow.
Just like kind of like, so this kid who only played chess for 2-3 years crushes me completely. And I'm like already probably a strong IM GM at that point. I'm not sure which year. Maybe I was already a GM. I don't remember. And I've been playing chess all my life, coached by all these famous coaches. That just tells you how talented Conrad Holt. And then he never had a coach. I don't believe he got to really high rated, like almost definitely over 2,600 USCF.
I mean, he went to one of the Texas schools. I think he went to UT Dallas.
UTD Dallas, yes. And then he got a job at Google. And I think he studied like really something hardcore, like physics or computer science plus physics. Yeah, he's just very talented guy.
Yeah, now actually he's just here with me in the Bay Area. Occasionally he used to play some of the Bay Area chess tournaments. He would show up, beat everyone, beat Enrico, and then just win the tournament.
Yeah, and he's just working full time and occasionally just, plays chess and crushes everyone. Yeah, he's extremely strong. The only thing about his style is that he's super predictable. He only plays the Slav, only plays the French. All his life, he only played these two openings as black. And occasionally, he'll just get crushed once in a while by some kid who does targeted prep against his French or the Slav.
Right. Actually, I think Christopher Yu won like an amazing game against him.
Amazing game against him. Yeah, I do remember. It was some GM Norm tournament a couple years back, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this is Conrad Holt we're discussing, American Grandmaster, who is sort of not as known these days because he got, I think, a full-time job on Google and just sort of quit his professional chess career. But for a while, he was one of the top juniors in the country and, really elite upcoming grandmaster who's never had a coach.
Right.
Very unusual. Bishop b6 looks extremely murky here.
Right.
From Renek. I mean, he's walking into so many possible rook takes b6 tactics.
Oh, bishop e3. There it is. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, unless there's some... Okay, so he has to take, and then what happens? Rook b1, bishop... Yeah, this is maybe game over, no?
Looks... very
the back
scary.
rank is really weak, and then if... yeah, okay, that's why he played king of 1, but still... somehow things are not looking so... Okay, Black does not have a lot of time left. So maybe White is surviving. Yeah, now looks like White is surviving. Queen a1 is no big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bishop on e8, very, very passive. So Tuan did win that game, guys, by the way, for Team Canada, tying it up, so 5-5.
Yeah, very close. So this game decides the match?
This game plus the game between King Mora versus Counter
the King Mora game is still going?
Where, actually, I feel like...
Wait, was that game finished?
No, King Mora is still going.
Still going, okay.
But I feel like White kind of solved most of their problems that we were seeing earlier.
Yeah, Black's under a lot of time pressure, guys.
What do you think about Black's 14th move, knight takes c1, taking that bishop?
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's playable because he saw bishop e3 coming, right? And he's like, well, do I want to just get a simple plus? Because we know bishop is better than the knight on open board. So it feels like a pretty simple, practical decision. but objectively maybe not the best move. I think white just maintains a tiny edge. I really like this a5 idea, but he didn't really follow it up properly.
Oh, a5, a4.
The idea is you want to kick that knight back. Like you want to put the pawns basically on light squares as black.
Yeah.
But white is not really allowing that, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
somehow still black can put pressure.
So you think black is still a little bit better here with the bishop?
A little bit. It just feels like without an anchor, knight needs an anchor.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as easy. Like, also c4, knight d2, then the c pawn is a little weak. Okay, black needs something. Maybe we need to start pushing pawns on the other side, because the knight can't easily get to the queen. Yeah, so one of the benefits, guys, of the bishop over the knight is not as quick switching flank side to side, and the bishop is really good on the wings. You put the bishop on d6, right? It can look at both sides of the board. But if black is going to trade rooks and white's going to put a knight on c4, it's just going to be a fortress. That's a draw.
Yeah.
And black has no time, so maybe he is already going to settle for a draw.
Right. Yeah, I think this is a kind of tough spot now for black, just because the time is so low. And yeah, if I'm white, actually, I think I just play this on. Just knight versus bishop. Opponent is in time trouble,
Interesting game with the Rennek against Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Queen endgame, queen and pawn endgame.
Oh. Okay.
Who is better, black or white? I mean, the d pawn is pretty strong, but so is the c pawn.
Oh. I mean, feels like black has a perpetual whenever he wants.
Exactly.
Where
white does not have the same luxury, but white has the d pawn that can get really quickly. But the problem is if you start with d6, he's going to lose it with a check.
Right.
So somehow it feels like black is on the better side of this position.
Yeah.
The a pawn is kind of irrelevant. I feel like the c pawn is quite strong.
Right. So queen c6. Man, this is going to be super, super sharp.
And now c3, c2, right?
Yeah.
And then d6, d7. I don't know what's going on. I'm not liking king on e1, walking into a huge tempo. That may be just game over.
Feels like black is faster here. Yeah.
So he needs to go attack e5 quickly, go for perpetual somehow. But probably it's not going to work. Okay, so c2, d7.
Huh. I would have started with queen d2 check and then c2.
Yeah, of course. Because you want a queen with check.
Yeah, that seems...
That's an accuracy.
Yeah, that was just GG. But this one... Okay.
But it works,
queen
yeah. Queen e3 works. Yeah, that's a good...
Wow, well played.
Yeah, that's GG.
Very well played.
Yeah, and he's got time to finish white off here. So, okay, 1 point for Team Canada here.
King Mora won the game by resignation. Oh, black blundered the bishop with g6. Time trouble. Blundered the fork and resigned before.
Yeah, that's one of the drawbacks of the bishop, right? Bishop can walk into a fork against the knight, especially in blitz.
In blitz, yeah.
Yeah, he was so focused on protecting that pawn that he lost the bishop.
Okay, very well played, guys. So 1-1 for King Mora and Counter Sparks, 2-0 for Aaron, and that brings us, I think we have... Wait, am I reading this right? Feels like Canada won the match. Hold on, I feel like I thought we were tied, but no, I think Canada wins because they won 2 matches 2-0. US won 1, 2-0, and then there was 3 draws. So I don't know, I must have mixed up the score somewhere, but the final score looks like Canada takes it down. So very well played, Team Canada. Final score 2, 4, 6, 7 against 3, 7, 5. Yeah, I must have mixed up the score somewhere, guys. But I think final score is 7-5. Maybe you guys can confirm in the chat. Oh, King Mora won both games. Oh, excuse me. My bad. Oh, okay.
Somebody says 6-6.
I messed it up. Yeah, sorry. It was correct earlier. So 0-2 for King Mora. So it is 6-6. My bad. So drawn match, guys. Drawn match.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 6-6. Incredible. Earlier, David played both national anthems at the same time. Maybe we should. Wow, very cool. Very exciting, guys. I hope you had fun playing the match. This is our first like Dojo team match from our chapters based on our country teams.
People are asking about tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker, that was not in the regulations, guys. So I think I'm just gonna call it.
Everybody wins. Everybody gets medals.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm not gonna force you guys to now like play a bullet game to decide. Very nice. Very well played. So guys, if you want to join one of these teams and eventually participate in a match, you can join the Discord, and we have a sign-up sheet there where you can join the teams. But yeah, very well played, everyone.
What's going on in Jesse's game? Is that still going?
I believe it should be. Yeah, I'll open up an analysis board, and I'll send you an invite. And then we can, take a look at that one as well.
I haven't seen a move from Black in a while, and maybe it's not refreshing.
Oh, weird. Wait, actually, let's make another one. Okay, gonna send you a link to my board, and
sure.
Then we'll get Jesse's game in. Yeah, bishop f3, Jesse's been tanking, unless something wrong with the DGT board.
Probably, yeah, I'm guessing. Still complex position, though.
Yeah. Okay, so let me input these moves. So white started with c4. So Jesse is playing, I think Eric Kurtz is National Master, from what I remember. His FIDE rating is lower, 2059, as usual. I'm sure his USCF is like 150 points higher.
So it's going to be some kind of anti-Catalan with b3. So white does not want to play d4.
Yeah, so c4, knight f6, g3, e6, bishop g2, d5. I've played Eric online quite a bit, and this is his typical setup, this English.
So yeah, the only drawback is that Black can play for more aggressive with d4, which Jesse does choose.
Yeah, he does play d4 here. It takes the space.
And now we take the game to Benoni, reverse Benoni route.
Right.
Yeah, this is all theory. And I believe here, after the move rook e1, so the idea behind rook e1 is to have this knight e5 option. And then the point is you want to trade the knight and open up the g2 bishop. And then sometimes you even sack the exchange when bishop d6 attacking the rook. You take on d4, you take on e5. I think I might have seen like Mickey Adams' game here, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
So that's why Jesse plays bishop d6, which I believe is the main line. But I think knight g4 is an interesting alternative. I think I looked at this move a long time ago. And now the point now, let's see, if knight takes d4, trying to put pressure on the g4 knight here, can we play knight takes d4, queen takes g4, and bishop f6?
Yeah, it looks so sharp. I feel like knight f2 is also an option here.
Knight f2 is an option.
And there's like,
although you have to calculate this knight takes c6 intermezzo. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very sharp. But okay,
So,
I feel like this is not Jesse's style, super concrete in the opening.
Yeah, bishop d6 is simple, solid move with idea e5.
Right. Knight a3, e5.
Seems like white is kind of allowing the main idea here.
It does get c5 in, kind of a thematic.
Yeah, you have to play c5, otherwise Black is doing well. Right. Bishop c7 is logical, because you don't want to take and lose the e-pawn.
Yeah. Yeah, so here, knight c4, rook e8 played. I'll just get you guys up to the live position. d3, bishop g4, b4, knight takes, Queen b3 was played. And Jesse
So yeah,
took on
b4 is
d3.
kind of thematic sacrifice, but then yeah, knight takes d3 with e4, nice counter sack from Jesse.
Yeah, so e4, queen b3 takes, bishop takes f3, and then here apparently Jesse has been thinking for almost 20 minutes, but thinking it might be kind of like DGT problem or something, because
yeah, maybe it's not catching the signal.
It's a lot of time to spend. Yeah.
So what's the material here? Black's up a pawn. It's his turn. The problem with bishop takes d5, bishop takes f3 followed by queen d5, you're gonna lose the d pawn, and Jesse doesn't want that.
This endgame.
Yeah, he doesn't want this endgame.
Yeah.
It's just even.
I mean, he likes endgames, but it's very.
But he's a pawn up, so ideally he shouldn't give up that pawn.
Yeah.
So maybe he's thinking how to, preserve his extra pawn. I mean, queen. What else? Queen d7 looks logical, with the idea bishop takes g4 and just continue the attack. So knight takes g4 and queen f5. Yeah, I'm not sure if he should even worry about queen takes b7. Maybe he could worry a little bit because bishop takes d4 will stop queen takes f2 threats. Again, like tactics, right? Queen takes b7 may just work out for white.
Yeah, quite possibly.
So queen f5, then bishop takes d4. Unless there's a killer blow there, he's gonna consolidate next move. Queen h5, for example, queen g2.
This one.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to make an attack work.
Right, black could run out of steam.
I don't see any way to get the knight to f. Yeah, this looks completely fine for white. So maybe that's why he's tanking here, if it's not the DGT issue, because it's not obvious what black should do.
Oh, queen b7. People are pointing out knight takes h2 is a move. Very cool. Discovered idea.
Clever. Obviously, you can't take discovery. The thing that I like about it, you have some queen h3 and queen takes c7, knight f3 mate situations.
Yeah, and then if c6, there's also knight f3. Maybe Jesse's calculating this stuff.
But it's white's turn, so that gives him options too.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not. I mean, there's like knight d6. It's a lot.
There's
of
also
moves.
queen g2 if he needs to just regroup. Then knight g4 and say still a game.
Yeah, it's like still rook a d1 is always coming, and this d pawn is. It kind of feels like it's really hard for black to hold on to this d pawn. What about knight f2? Knight f2 feels similar.
Knight
too.
f2 is interesting. Yeah, same ideas. You have knight d3 option as well.
Yeah.
So you have some extra ideas opening up.
It does feel like it kind of opens up white's king more, so I definitely like this one.
Again, super sharp stuff, right?
Yeah, very sharp.
Probably queen f3 or something, yeah.
So if the clock is right, Jesse is down an hour because he shut up pretty late. And now he's down to like 27 minutes. But the thing about these DGT boards is that they're often messing
They're
up.
way off.
Yeah.
They're way off, and he might already made the move for all we know, and it's not catching the connection.
Right. Yeah, sometimes what happens, like, okay, white goes bishop takes f3, and then black like immediately takes on f3, and then the board doesn't register that like a move has been played, and now white is playing queen takes f3, and then the DGT is like, well, that's not a legal move.
Are there any chess dojoers at the site?
Yeah, there's a few. I don't know if they're online.
They're playing or they're online?
But yeah, I think Vishnu is at this tournament, and Chess Gains, if you remember Chess Gains.
Yeah, Chess Gains. Very strong player, yeah.
Yeah, he was doing well. I saw he posted, he had a nice game. Okay, bishop takes f3 played after 23 minutes. So, and queen d5.
Ah, you're right. It says 23 minutes, yeah. Wow, he really must have calculated for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So bishop takes f3 feels like a draw offer.
Right,
And if you follow it up with queen d5, right? Because it's going to be really difficult to win this endgame. Yeah. Maybe that was his thought process. Maybe he's like, well, do I go something crazy and I have less time, or just go for something simple and I don't mind the draw?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, white sort of has to go into this, right?
I think so.
I don't think he has choice.
I do feel like Jesse is gonna play this one on, though. I think he's gonna like bishop takes d4, maybe like rook d8 or something. I feel like he's gonna try to at least keep the game going.
Yeah, the only problem is I'm a little bit also worried about the b7 pawn. A lot of the lines, like rook, yeah. If you play rook a d8, I can take and play rook a b, rook b1. If you play rook e d8, then you're giving up the e file. So it also has drawbacks.
All right, let me get rid of the table. Thanks, guys. We don't need the score anymore. In the meantime, let me remind you guys, all day today we are raising money for pancreatic cancer research. So if you guys have anything you'd like to donate, there is a link in the chats where you can send in your donation. All the money we raise goes to the research, and yeah, it's good. Always good to do some good. I don't know if you saw, but like Levy and Hikaru, they raised like, and Anna Rudolph, they raised like $500,000 the other day for some charity.
Oh my God! Wow.
Insane. Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, good job. All right, looks like Black did play this move f6. Keeps his options open, and what I like about f6 is that the king has a faster route to the center.
Mm-hmm.
So like if white plays something totally slow, like king f1, and then tries to trade all the rooks, right? Then king f7, king e6 is going to run really fast without the rooks on the board. So the drawback of the move f6, it does give white time to start hitting that b7 pawn.
Yeah.
If rook takes e8, rook takes e8, rook b1, maybe Jesse is putting his money on rook e4 there at the end. And the problem is it's not super easy to save the bishop and the knight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the key intermezzo.
Yeah, so some possible difficulties for white. I know when I get into like these endgames against the Grandmaster, I'm always like I know it's equal, but you still have to be accurate, and you know they're gonna torture you if they find any little thing, right, to kind of play on for.
Yeah, the key is to identify which trades favor white, right?
Mm-hmm.
So besides like king f1 and trading all the rooks, which is a little slow, we see that this knight on d5 is super annoying.
Mm-hmm.
So one logical move here is knight e3.
Mm-hmm.
Say, you know what? I'm okay with a bad pawn on c5. You have a bad pawn on b7. They sort of cancel each other out. The bishop on e3 is anchored by the f2 pawn and protects c5. There's really no targets for black once the knights are traded. But if you move away from d5, you also give up a lot of central squares. So I feel like knight e3 is a relatively simple move.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe there are other moves as well for white. This seems like a relatively easy draw, right?
Yeah, I think
with rook b1 and doubling.
Yeah, if the rooks stay on the board. I feel like if the rooks come off, then black can get the king in. Could be nice, but yeah, I feel like rook b1, you just create
play rook b3, you double, and if anyone who is in trouble after that, that b7 pawn may just fall. White may just put so much pressure there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so this knight e3 idea is really interesting.
Now, Jesse's definitely a high-rated player here, but I mean, his opponent is a national master, so it's not like the discrepancy is super insane.
Plus, Jesse's given huge time odds. If I'm not mistaken, white has 58 minutes versus 17 minutes.
Oh, 58-17?
And I think what Jesse needs to make move 40, and then time gets added.
Yeah, and then he's okay, and then he can... But this is only 22 moves.
Yeah, this is gonna feel like a pretty serious time pressure. Luckily, there's not a lot of pieces left, and it's gonna be a little easier to play.
That's funny. On the Chess24 site, it shows the clocks as like an hour and a half for white and 27 minutes for black. So,
Yeah, who knows?
so
It's all over the map. Yeah, with these GGT boards, you never know the accurate time.
right. Okay, so F6. Yeah.
But for instance, even after knight e3, if black plays like rook e d8 and knight takes d5, rook d5, even there bishop e3 is totally safe. Like even with the rook on d5,
Mm-hmm.
you're not like there's no pressure on the d file at all. No entry squares. c5 is super well anchored by the bishop, and b7 is weak. White is totally fine.
Right. All right.
So this knight e3 is a typical equalizer if you trade knights. Maybe Jesse can try knight b4, but that looks a little bit risky. Knight is too loose there. I don't like it if you don't trade the knights. Kind of hard to give a great advice after knight e3.
Yeah. But you know, like from my point of view, again, when I'm playing like high rated player, before I play knight e3, I'm going to be thinking about like, oh, but do I really want to trade? Like, am I just playing for a draw?
Yeah, what am I playing for?
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, king g2 looks like a reasonable move, right?
For sure.
You're consolidating, you're bringing the king toward the center, maybe king f3, h4. You know, it's not unreasonable.
Yeah.
So let's see, how was Jesse doing in this tournament? He drew his round 1 game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he won round 2. Then he lost round 3 against the strong Chinese GM, right?
Yeah.
And then round 4, he must have won.
No, he drew actually.
He drew round 4, got it, okay.
Yeah.
And this is round 5, right?
Yeah, so far he's like kind of struggling with the white. Only made 2 draws so far, playing down. The kids are just too solid. I have a feeling he's going to come back and start complaining about the kids.
And he's getting his end games too. Like round 1 game, he was pushing it, I think. I saw briefly the end game. But something like he fell apart somewhere, missed something, and then he lost his pawn and offered the draw.
Right. And then round 4, I briefly saw the game. He actually had like 2 bishops, kind of classic advantage, but it was very solid. I feel like it was kind of very tough to win if the opponent doesn't make, you know, serious mistakes.
Yeah, what do you think, Kostya, with this pandemic? Are we seeing like a new, you know, what's the word? All these underrated people, right, are coming back strong and saying, you know what, I can take down all these GMs.
Yeah. I think it's like, well, it's even worse than normal. Like normally, you know, people have high USCF ratings and like low FIDE ratings because they haven't caught up. And now it's that plus the pandemic. And it also feels worse because like, I mean, during the pandemic, you know, the adults were still working and like trying to adjust. And, you know, we've been doing this, the dojo and the stream and all this stuff. Whereas the kids, okay, they go to school and then they do chess. You know, they can just do chess all day long. So the
kids just get naturally better by being kids, right? They just absorb information and just learn it faster and get better. And I think the kids are also play a lot of online chess these days.
Yeah.
And I think it's different than adults when they play online, right? Because their adults' attention is constantly triggered by other things, whereas kids can really get a lot of practice with these online games.
Yeah, I think it's something about the absorption. I feel like, yeah, kids are, just learning very, very quickly. I don't know, things kind of just like stick. They like see one move, they see an idea, they just kind of like remember it. It just gets stored.
Right.
Whereas, yeah, the older players, I feel like you have to repeat a lot more before you're really kind of really kind of like remembering the idea and like retaining it along.
Cheslata says, I don't get to play during school, I guess. Grown-ups have their phone. That's true. When kids are in school, they don't have time for chess, except we know the famous story of Alekine. Do you know the story of Alekine when he was in school?
No.
Yeah, when he was bored during the lesson, and obviously he didn't have his chess set, I think he was playing blindfold. And I think it's not just Alekine, but there are some other famous players who learned to play blindfold just to go get around that boring school lessons.
Nice. Yeah, now look, guys, I'm not recommending anything to the kids, but
Right.
I'm just saying, theoretically, if you learned how to play blindfold, you could just like, print out some games and kind of just like play through them in your head. You can also get like, a sheet of puzzles and just kind of look at it, glance at it. Assuming you're like still going to school virtually. Actually, when I was
there is a famous Tal story. Is that, I may be misremembering, but I think like Tal was a substitute teacher once or twice in his life, and he, he's like this nice guy who just like, not super strict, right? And so I think kids were misbehaving, but they were misbehaving by playing chess during his lesson. And I think he like glanced in the position, and it was like, and he's like, well, you get a C on your exam because you weren't paying attention in class, and you also get a C for this position because you messed up. Something like that. I don't remember the exact story. I would have to look it up, but yeah, when you have a strong teacher like Tal, you probably want to do well on your chessboard in school.
That's funny. I can't believe he was a substitute teacher.
Yeah. I don't even remember if that's a true story or not, but there's so many stories about Tal.
Nice. Yeah, when I was in college, I would have I'd have like my laptop out and do some puzzles. I was on ICC.
Yeah, I remember ICC when I was probably still in like high school. Yeah, I think I was in high school in ICC first. Of course, we didn't have our phones, or I don't think I even had a laptop at that moment. We were basically just on our desktops playing ICC after school.
Nice.
I remember I played Shiro on ICC.
Oh, wow.
And I was just a kid.
What was his handle? Do you remember?
Shirov was, yes, Leon, after
Leon.
his, I think, son's name, Leon something.
Right.
Forgot if there was like a number after that or no. Did you know that Kasparov played on ICC under a secret account?
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can still find some of his games. I think Yotav or Yotam, Yota. I'm sure you can Google Kasparov ICC, and some games were really instructive. Like he beat Ginger. He played like 2-3 games against Ginger. Ginger was really good in Blitz.
Yeah.
So I want to say it was like maybe late 90s.
Yeah. That sounds right. Do you remember there was this like weird anonymous account called Raphael? I think it was like on Playchess.
Wait, is that the story that every game started like F3, King F2, and he crushed everyone?
No, I don't.
That's a different story.
I don't know about that one. I just know there's some account. I don't know if like their name was ever revealed, but yeah, their username was Raphael, and apparently they were just like one of the top like 3,000 or something. One of the top players. And
No, that does sound familiar. I think it was one of the top 10 players.
I see. Yeah.
I don't remember who it was. Maybe people know that, but it sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, but there's another story that either Nigel Short or somebody said he played a guy on ICC who kept starting every game F3, King F2, and crushing him every game. And I think somebody said, "Oh, that's Fischer," when Fischer was still alive. But I think it was. I don't actually know the history. I don't think it was Fischer. I think it was
yeah, I'm very skeptical that. I mean, that'd be amazing if Fischer invented the bomb cloud after the King of early theory. Oh, 93 played, by the way.
Wow. So this guy definitely this is a good instructive moment, right? He kind of understood that this is a critical moment in the game. His next move could be critical, and knight e3 is played.
According to Reddit, oh, people think that was just an engine user. That makes sense.
Yeah, most likely. That's what I would guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, engine. Yeah, that's probably good guess. Yeah, engine. Because that was before really detection algorithms and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, big time. But also, I mean, engines weren't like that good back then.
That's true. There was a famous match that Nakamura would play against all these engines and try to flag them.
Right.
He would play these like 50 plus move games, right, where he would just go back and forth and just flag engines.
Yeah. Yeah, those Naka games are insane. I remember covering one for chess.com where he crushed, I think, Komodo or like early Stockfish or something. Or Ripka, I think, or Houdini maybe. I think
Yeah, whoever. No, it was even before Houdini. I feel like it was maybe
it was
even
like crafty and
like early. Yeah, definitely crafty. There was a lot of crafty matches, definitely. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, back then engines had some very, very clear weaknesses.
Yeah, I feel like with the invention of Ripka, the chess engine world sort of made this huge leap forward, right? And then Houdini was just like this sort of improved version of Ripka, right? By a different developer, but it took all the best parts of Ripka. And Houdini for a long time was like super strong, right?
Yeah.
That to this day, even some GMs are like, no, I trust my Houdini more than this random Stockfish. But obviously Stockfish got much, much better than Houdini.
Yeah.
And then got much better than everything else. And then the only thing that could stop Stockfish was Leela, which is basically neural network engine, alpha 0 type. And then Stockfish people said, well, we can just incorporate this neural network stuff.
Right.
And Stockfish gained another 100 points just from that discovery. So I feel like Stockfish absorbed all the best of chess engines.
Yeah, the latest Stockfish, right? Super, super strong.
Yeah, like Stockfish 13 is just very good. But I still like Leela because Leela is very strong at quick identifying the key moves, and it doesn't really change its mind as much as Stockfish. So for analysis, I really like Leela, and sometimes it makes some silly blunders. You definitely want to double check it with Stockfish.
Right.
All right, so I'll probably have to get going soon, guys, but I'm predicting a draw here, and quite an early draw.
Oh, actually, that's a good idea. I'm gonna set up a prediction in the chat.
Yeah, but maybe somebody can prove me wrong. Hope Jesse wins if he can. But yeah, I just don't see how, especially if knight takes e3 happens. I don't see how he can win that. B7 is just too weak, honestly, guys. That's my reasoning.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna put up a prediction in the chat. You have 5 minutes. Cast your bets. And yeah, big time advantage for white, but on the same hand, or on the other hand, I mean, I don't think these positions require like a ton of concrete calculation.
No, yeah, this is more like you play by feel, you play by hand, and Jesse is really good at this play by hand, play by feel positions.
Yeah.
Plus, he can always just trade everything and make a draw. There's always B6 move, right, and just trade everything.
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
Worst comes to worst.
Definitely no danger. So now he's thinking about whether to trade. I guess the other move he could consider, there are a few moves, is like knight b4, knight e7. You can try to put the knight on c6 maybe. Just to kind of keep some more tension in the position.
Right. Yeah, the knight on c6 actually stands well. But the problem is b7 is always a headache.
Right.
So no matter what, this pawn is not going to go away. But yeah, it was great being on the show. Again, thank you guys for your donations.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Eugene. If you got to get going, all good.
Yep.
We will hopefully see you next. Do you have anything you want to plug? Are you doing anything special soon?
Let me think. As far as anything special, probably not really, but I do want to continue what I've been doing with Jesse. Maybe after his tournament, we'll talk more about openings and how he felt about some of his openings.
Nice.
So, by the way, openings is my specialty. And you can definitely check out my website, chessopeningsexplained.com, which is the primary repertoire is from the 2 books that I co-authored with Gingy and Albert, which is Accelerate Dragon for Black, Bogo and Nimzo against d4, and e4 Grand Prix against Sicilian as white and other openings. So that's a total complete repertoire. And since it was published, I think 2005, long time ago, it was a bestseller back then, but obviously it needs some updating as theory has moved on. I just basically create videos for all the key openings and with additional PGNs that people can download. Nice. And of course, you can just get both books directly from the website with PGN or chess-based format.
Nice, very cool. I dropped the link in the chat for you guys, chessopeningsexplained.com. Check out Eugene's site. And yeah, thanks, Eugene, so much for joining us. This was fun. Hopefully we'll have you back soon.
All right, thank you. Bye, guys.
All right, see you soon. Alrighty, guys, welcome back. I'm going to be streaming for a little while longer. Yeah, thanks again to Eugene. Actually, Eugene joined us for some of the best podcasts that we've done with Dojo Talks. He joined us for one that was like the 6 methods of training, which was really interesting, guys. If you want to hear Eugene talk about his experiences working with like a bunch of top coaches, like Dorfman and Dvoretsky and a bunch of other guys, definitely check that out on our YouTube channel. And then Eugene also joined us for the opening discussions, where we kind of ranked our favorite openings for white and black. So that was multiple streams. Muted? We're muted? Really? That seems odd. Not muted. Yeah, thanks, guys. I see my audio levels. If you guys told me I'm muted, I would have gone absolutely insane. I'm like, what? So let's see, live position, bishop e5 played by Jesse. So this is actually a really sharp move because he's like allowing knight takes d5, bishop takes d4. He's also allowing bishop takes c5, rook takes. And if white goes for this like pure rook endgame, I would imagine white, yeah, is just never worse here. Very drawish. No, all good. So bishop e5 on the board. So yeah, guys, I'll be hanging out for a little bit. We'll watch the game. I don't think it's going to move too quickly. So in the meantime, if you guys have like questions or topics you want to discuss, let me know in the chat. We can hang out. I'm going to get some music going. Some Twitch and chill. Let's see if we can get this working. Oh wait, we traded first. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, we got it wrong. Knight e3 was not played. Rook takes c8 first was played, excuse me. And then white played knight e3. Oh, so white went full trade mode. And now bishop e5, and so this is the live position here. Thanks for pointing that out. We don't have a website, no, but we have a bunch of playlists on YouTube, and in our Discord, we have a list of like some of our more instructive videos. We have like a dojo guide that we should probably update soon because we've added a lot of videos in the last few months that are probably not in the guide. So we'll have to update that one. Yeah, bishop takes e5 played. And now I would expect rook takes. So this one is different than the other rook endgame because in the other one, white's rook was getting in immediately. Here, I think white should still be more or less fine. You know, something like this cannot happen, and you can say black is morally better because he has the active rook, but objectively, this kind of thing is almost always drawn. So this is kind of the direction the game is going right now, but we'll see. I mean, these grandmasters are GMs for a reason. You know, they always find little... Also, by the way, here black can throw in knight takes e3. Very much worth calculating. Bishop takes f6. Feels like it should kind of peter out into a very drawish position. Anyway, something like this. Yeah, everyone has weaknesses here. Very, very drawish. But I think that's what... And knight e3 played. Yeah. So Jesse throws this one in. Now it's up to white. Does he want to play bishop takes f6? Or just recapture? Recapturing, this starts to feel like, okay, black has kind of more weaknesses to target. And then on rook b1, maybe you just go rook e7 here. You put the rook on c7, slowly bring in the king. And you say, no, we're not going to trade weaknesses. Actually, I'm just going to try to win the c-pawn for free. So this would be an example of a rook endgame where black definitely plays on and white has to be very, very precise to hold it. But I think bishop takes f6 here feels pretty clean for white. Knight c2, rook c1. So we'll see. Usually the coach chess lessons are an hour long in general. Did I say morally better? Yeah, because like in some positions it's like it's equal, but like if you have the active rook and your opponent has the passive rook, it's like you just kind of have this like little little advantage. Let's say symbolically better is better, more accurate phrasing. Symbolic advantage. That's how it's usually. Oh, there's the music. But I kind of feel like my sound settings are all messed up here. So no music for now, guys. No music. My tech skills are not up to par today. Yeah, moral victory, allegedly better. Pleasant side of equality. Absolutely. Hey, what's up, Uwe Raps? Yeah, this is classical. This is Jesse playing in person. Sorry, is it Uwe or is it Owie? Just realized I'm calling you Uwe this whole time. It might be Owie. I feel like I don't remember. Yeah, this is Jesse's game in person at the Cherry... Owie, thank you. At the Cherry Blossom Classic Airport Hangar Chess Tournament. I forget the official title. It's something like that. Cherry Blossom Hill Classic Airport Hangar Tournament. And yeah, all day today, guys. Quick reminder, we are raising funds for pancreatic cancer research. We've teamed up with a bunch of other streamers. And yeah, we're all kind of collectively raising funds. Now, the dojo, I think on our own, has raised this amount that you see on the screen, $637, which is great. Honestly, we had no idea what to expect. Our original goal was the minimum $100. So you guys totally crushed it on in that respect. And yeah, I'll be hanging out for a little while here. Let's check out the schedule, see what's coming up next. So at 5 p.m. Pacific time, we have an Ask Me Anything / Play the Sensei with I am Kostya Kavutsky. That should be fun. And then at 6 p.m., we're going to have a Blitz Arena hosted by SM Pooh Bear, one of our very, very helpful mods, aka Scott. If you guys weren't around for his last Blitz Arena, it was a lot of fun. So if you're looking to play some Blitz, that'll be coming up at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah, in the meantime, we're watching Jesse and Bishop D6 played on the board. Now, honestly, if I was black, I would be really happy actually seeing Bishop D6, because now black gets to keep the knight and you actually have an imbalance to work with. You have knight versus bishop. Now, maybe the bishop is still better than the knight. So maybe black is possibly in danger of even falling worse at some point, but I don't know, at least it's like something to play for. You know, you can put the knight maybe on a5 or c6. Knight c4 looks like a move here. Then maybe white just goes rook b1 and just sets his sights on the b pawn. I mean, it's still very, very drawish. I imagine with correct play, neither side should be running into danger here. But we'll see, guys. We'll see. I mean, chess is a very stressful game and both players put under pressure, you know, so yeah, mistakes can happen in the simplest of positions to the strongest of players. Knight f5 on the board. Cool. So knight f5. And now he's not necessarily threatening to take, but one day he might take and try to kind of like pick up this pawn. Actually, let's just take a look, a sample line here. How would we do this exactly? If, let's say, white gave us a tempo with king g2, and then we took this one and played here, let's say white goes rook b1, then again, I'd say maybe black should go rook d7. You don't trade weaknesses, you defend your weakness, and then you try to win the d pawn for free, right? And this is where it starts to get a little tricky for white, this kind of thing, because what do you do about the d pawn? If you play rook d1, the king is just coming in, and black is going to take this one. But of course, king g2 here, not forced by white, so if white instead plays rook b1, then I don't think black is quite in time to get the setup. Maybe Jesse's idea is to go b6, challenging the bishop. But you know, these things have to be calculated. Takes, 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 right? And then rook b8 is coming. So I think this would be, this looks good for white. Yeah? Am I missing something? Or looks like white is winning? Just rook b8 and push. b6 played. Okay. So, I mean, this is a very sharp line. I mean, if white takes here, he could take back. But then rook takes. Does black get the pawn back? Not exactly, right? I don't see how black gets the pawn back. Let's see other options. Why wouldn't black just take the horse earlier? At which point? Sorry. I mean, here we had both pieces hanging. White played bishop d6, and then knight f5. Well, Jesse's idea with rook b1, b6 is to undermine the bishop. Right? If he takes here, then this one is a problem. He could go b6, something like this, but still I think white should be absolutely okay. Rook c1, rook c7, you get active, you go after the weaknesses. Very, very drawish. Very, very drawish. But let's see here, b6. White does take. And I mean, I don't expect Jesse to miss this idea, but he's taking some time here. Now what are we doing? Takes, rook takes. Oh, I think he's probably has to just make a draw here. I think he has to take and then just play something like rook a8 and argue that white has... Oh no, there's rook b8 check. Hold on. Maybe got to be more accurate here. Like rook e1, let's say rook a1. and say that there's no way to defend the pawn and the bishop, right? If rook a6, just taking and taking on a2. Yeah, Jesse takes on b6, and we're very, very likely approaching a draw here, I think. So takes, rook takes, and now I'm expecting check, rook a1, and I don't see a way for white to hold on to the pawn anymore. Yeah, rook b8 check, just king f7, no big deal. How have Jesse's previous games gone so far? He is not having a great tournament. Yeah, he's drawn some games. He lost one to a strong Chinese grandmaster, but you know, he's still in position, right? If he starts winning some games, he can definitely kind of like fix his event. Well, the 2000s, I mean, that's FIDE rating, but these players are like pretty underrated. I mean, his current opponent, again, national master, right? Like 2200 USCF strength, very underrated in terms of the FIDE. And his previous opponents, you know, were children, so again, very underrated. So yeah, I would say he's probably played a bunch of experts and masters so far, and the GM. Yeah. What's wrong with taking the bishop? So the danger there, if knight takes d6, then white goes b takes a7, and it's very difficult to stop rook b8 followed by promotion. So that was the danger. Yeah, it looks lost. I don't see why what black does here to stop the pawn. So yeah, it looks like we're just rapidly they're gonna shake hands in like 2 seconds here. Rook b6 played. Rook e1 check played, rook a1, a3 played, takes, rook a3 on the board, and yeah, if Jesse doesn't offer a draw with this move, I mean, I don't know what he's doing. So I'm expecting the kings to show up on e4 and e5 here, and yeah, that's going to be a GG. So solid game. I mean, a tough one for Jesse. He showed up an hour late. I'm guessing just mixed up the round time. Always hard to, you know, play the game with an hour less on your clock. But I mean, hard-fought game by the opponent. I mean, I don't think white really gave Jesse any chances here. Like, there was no point when black was, like, better. It was pretty much equal the whole time. It was a sharp game. I'm sure maybe there was other things black could have done earlier, but yeah, pretty solid game. So nice job, Mr. Kurtz, aka Mannered Monkey. Yeah, former chess bra, right? Or no, current chess bra? I have no idea. You should have like, what kind of chess? Now, here's the thing, actually, like when you show up late, your time is running. So a lot of players, if they show up late, even if it's a couple of minutes, you know, they like apologize. They're like, oh, sorry, I'm late. And I've had players do that to me. Like they show up like 10 minutes late and I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm late. But I'm like, I don't mind. I mean, you know, your clock was running, so please show up late. Like, to me, I don't know. It's not really an etiquette thing. Like, your clock is running, so it's only a disadvantage for you, right, if you're late. It doesn't really inconvenience the opponent at all. I'm totally happy to start a game with more time on the clock. Yeah, draw agreed. It is official. Let's wrap up the prediction. And yeah, Jesse did not win this one. The have-nots get it. No, I doubt it, Jeff. I doubt. I mean, he had a game earlier today, so yeah. Oh wow, you guys don't like it when the opponent's late. Honestly, I don't mind. Yeah, if you're gonna spend your time like away from the board, you know, that's cool with me. Okay, guys, I'm gonna take a quick break, and I will be back with some more streaming. In the meantime, guys, quick reminder, we are raising funds for pancreatic cancer research today. Would be awesome to raise a lot of money for the research. I mean, cancer is a really ugly disease, and affects a lot of families. So whatever we can do, guys, Very much appreciated. But I'll be back in a few minutes, and yeah, we'll keep the stream going. Take care, everyone. See you in a bit.
next to a woman and feel truly happy. And someone that could level you with her eyes.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Welcome back to Dojo. You are watching the Dojo Network, 24/7 live chess coverage of the top events, the amateur events, and everything in between. How's everyone doing after that? It's been a long day of streaming, guys. It's been pretty long. I mean, David, honestly, such a champ, guys. You know, Jesse was away for the tournament. I've been like sick all week and unable to do much other than like little prep. David absolutely crushed it today. So many shows. We got, you know, the Bach Gauntlet, guys, that was like a last second edition. We had like a full slate of shows planned without the Gauntlet. And then like literally yesterday, David was like, hey, Benjamin wants to do the Gauntlet today. And like, I really want to get him in. And David did the 960 arena, right? Last night. Yeah. So yeah, next time you guys see David, he'll actually be back later today for another show. Actually, he's going to be doing beginner puzzles. Normally, that's a show I do with Maya, but actually he'll be doing the beginner puzzles this time and explaining his thought process. So, if there are any lower rated players in the chat, that's going to be a very instructive show later on to watch David, International Master, solve puzzles and kind of explain his thought process for that. Although the thought process is usually, this is a pattern I've seen before, let me now execute the pattern. That's usually the thought process. Like, okay, this just wins, this move just wins. That's the thought process. But hopefully he can, I'm pretty sure he'll make it instructive. Yeah, let's talk about avocados, guys. I mean, number one, look, I love avocados, but like, I'm sorry, like, they are not a fruit. I don't view avocados as a fruit. See, it's not fair to compare avocados to other fruits. It's just not fair. They are a culinary vegetable, okay? They are a culinary vegetable. And the tomato also, culinary vegetable. Get out of here with your like definitions, guys, about what a fruit or a vegetable is. Yeah, tomato is a vegetable, right? Like, you're not seeing tomatoes in your fruit salad or your fruit bowl at Denny's, right? When you get your little cup of fruit with melon and grapes and like one strawberry, you're not getting tomatoes in there. Yeah, they're vegetables, guys. I'm sorry. I think a pepper is a fruit too. No. No. Vegetable. Look, guys, fruits are sweet and taste good. Veggies, that usually not sweet, right? Not as sweet as fruits, and they kind of taste more savory, right? Avocado, okay, best tasting vegetable by far. Yeah, zucchini, also a veg. I mean, I think that is actually a real theory. I think there's a lot of foods that are, yeah, biologically a fruit, but culinarily a vegetable. Yeah, because you don't use it as a fruit, guys. I'm sorry, okay? Is anyone doing peanut butter and tomato jelly? Peanut butter and avocado jelly? No, it's not a thing, guys. It's not a thing. No, grapes are a fruit. Come on, guys. Let's be serious. Let's be serious. Yeah, potatoes by far the best vegetable. I mean, I can't argue with potatoes being a vegetable. I mean, like, what else can they be, right? So this is the Dojo Q&A portion. So I'll be hanging out for a little bit before Scott takes over with the Blitz Arena that's coming up at 6 p.m. So if you guys want to play some Blitz, get some of your games featured on the stream, hang out with Scott, one of our fun mods, that's going to be happening in about 35 minutes from now. In the meantime, we'll just hang out. We can talk some chess etiquette. People love throwing questions about etiquette around. Like, is it okay to is it okay to snort whenever your opponent makes a move? Like, they make some move and you're like, yeah, not okay, guys, not okay. Try not to try not to do that. Oh, potatoes are a starch. But aren't a lot of vegetables kind of starchy? Oh, big question. How do you do laundry? Seth, do you have a laundry machine inside or are you going outside? And are you going outside? You got to go like downstairs, or like how far outside are you going? Like, is it in your building, or you got to... In my old apartment, you had to go outside and then downstairs, and that was a real hassle. And you had to pay for it, like $250 for each. Opinion on Sakai's Complete Manual of Positional Chess. Actually, I have both of those books, the two manuals of positional chess by my two namesakes, Konstantin Sakayev and Konstantin Landa, the two strongest Kostyas in the world, that are my competition. Good books. Yeah, really solid material there. I wouldn't say it's a complete manual, right? It's not like you can read this book or any book and that's it, you're done. You have learned all there is to know about positional chess and that's it. I wouldn't say it's like that, but it's good material. And I mean, in general, chess books are much more cost effective than like, private coaching. So, for like a $25 book, that'll take you at least a month or so to go through. I mean, it's a good value. Mastering Chess Strategy, okay, for 1,300. Is that the Helstein book, Mastering Chess Strategy? I mean, I think it would be okay. I feel like Helstein's writing is very accessible. Some people would say maybe it's a little bit advanced, but I think it's pretty accessible. Maybe worth checking out, like like a sample. Like all these books have samples available online usually that you can go and check out and just kind of see like, is this above your level or not? I don't think the book has super long variations. I think in general it's pretty straightforward. There are topics and kind of examples provided on the topic, right? So one of the chapters is like improving your pieces, and then there's several sections like improving your knights, and then a bunch of examples where one side found like a nice knight maneuver that's kind of instructive, improving your bishops, improving your rooks, and so on. But yeah, a lot of good stuff in that Helstein book. So I think it would be honestly hard to go wrong with Helstein. He really is like very talented author. Hey, Jensen with the bits. Thanks so much. Do I recommend self-analysis with pen and paper or with the computer and the engine off, or does it not matter much? Well, yeah, it depends on who you ask. So Jesse, he is definitely a fan of the pen and paper approach. I've always found that to be long and, kind of difficult. Yeah, I actually think I answered this question a couple days ago. Let me just find the game we can just watch just for fun. I talked about this a little while ago. I think using the engine is okay for your analysis, but you have to spar with the engine. It's what many players do is they just like turn on the engine and then it gives an evaluation and they think they're done. They're like, oh, I guess I was better here, so no need to analyze my play. I had a better position, then I blundered somewhere, whatever, weird. And then they don't even analyze the game, right? They just check the engine eval and they're like, oh, on this move I could have done like this winning move. Oh, whoops, I missed it. Oh, too bad. And they don't really go in and like really analyze deep and try to understand, why you missed something or like why you made the mistakes you did. So I would say if you're going to use an engine, really try to like carefully evaluate every line you calculated during the game and every position you evaluated, right? You want to kind of check it against the engine. Because in every game we play, guys, right, you're always having like options that you don't go for. You're like, oh, I could have played this in this position, but I decided to make this other move. And, maybe the reason you didn't make one move is because you were worried about some threats from the opponent. It's so useful to then check your exact analysis after the game against the engine to see if you are right. Now, many players don't remember what they were thinking if they analyze the game, the next day or even several days later. So my recommendation, the day that you play the game, input the game right into ChessBase or whatever, into PGN, and input the lines that you calculated, right? Just input the moves that you were looking at. You don't have to analyze them right then and there. Just input the moves that you were looking at first and what you kind of thought was going to happen. If you really want bonus credit, when you analyze the game, look over your variations first on your own, right? Without using the engine. Just try to understand, like, okay, I play this move. And this is what I used to do with like coaches and training partners all the time. You know, postmortems, you analyze the game first from a human point of view, and then you check your analysis against the engine, and you try to kind of find instructive moments to learn from. So hopefully that makes sense. B-Kid with a good question. He watched a beginner chess video on YouTube, and one of the don'ts was don't play other people's moves. That sounds familiar. That sounds like that's from David's video for beginner players that he did for our channel. And not really for like beginner players. It doesn't like go over the rules or anything like that. That video is actually mainly for kind of like novice players who have like learned the rules but like don't know how to study or like work on their chess or like what time controls they should, all that stuff. Like they have no idea how to improve. Yeah, one of the things David said is don't play other people's moves. What he meant was don't play moves that don't personally make sense to you, right? So the beginning of the game, e4 hopefully makes sense to you, right? You're opening up your bishop, you're opening up your queen, you're controlling the center, you're developing your pieces. It's a good chess move, right? But let's say after e5, Nakamura or someone played like a3 in this position and like, crush some GM. Does move a3 make sense to you? Not really, right? So just because like a top GM played some random move doesn't mean you should just like copy them and hope that things work out the same. So what David means, I believe, by like don't play other people's moves is like only play chess moves that like make sense to your own chess logic and understanding, right? Hopefully you have some idea, some logic about the game, right? About how you believe the game should be played. What is the optimal strategy? Putting pieces in the center, defending your pieces, castling your king, things like that. Fighting for space, fighting for the initiative, sacrificing a pawn for an attack. These are things that are kind of like have to do with your own understanding and evaluation of the chess game. And so what that means, it's like, don't just play random moves just because you saw some strong player play it and like hoping it's going to work out for you. If the move doesn't make sense to you personally, like it's not going to go well. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, Greaseball. As a 1500-ish aggressive e4 player, I generally struggle when there aren't attacking opportunities. Yeah. Right, very typical issue. How can I work to improve my understanding of when to expand/fight on the queen side? Well, how do I explain this? Long story short, what strong players learn to do is they learn to judge their chances. So if a strong player thinks they have a good attack on the king side, then they will commit and they will attack on the king side. If they feel like the attack is not likely to work out, then it could be a big mistake to go for the attack, right? Because when you're going for an attacking position, you're kind of burning some bridges, right? You're putting pieces on the king side, you're moving everything away from the queen side. A lot of times you're allowing your opponent, a free hand there. And if your attack doesn't work out, if you don't get checkmate, you can lose the game because your opponent wins on the queen side, wins some material, and you have no attack. GG. They trade down and that's it. Bad endgame, lost. So ultimately it's about the evaluation. It's about learning to understand when you have real attacking chances and when you don't. And when you don't, that's when you have to switch over to, let's say, improving mode, right? Where you're improving your position, just kind of getting your pieces to better squares, maybe maneuvering something, gaining space in the center or queen side. That's when you kind of switch over to a different plan. It's certainly not an easy thing, but definitely a very important topic. And again, like with most of these things, I think the best way of dealing with this kind of weakness is to analyze your games where you think this happened and really try to understand. Maybe you had some games where you went for the attack, it didn't work out, you were busted. Really try to understand, well, what were you supposed to do instead, right? What was the better thing? To answer the question, If you don't see any obvious attacking opportunities, that means it's time to expand / fight on the queen side, most likely, right? Or at least play in the center or build up the attack slowly. At what level do you feel you should diversify your opening repertoire versus learning 1 or 2 openings really well? How broad a set of openings should you play consistently? Yeah, tough question, very tough. I don't think there's a perfect answer to this one. At least not that I know of. My feeling about the opening is that I usually suggest to stick to 1 or 2 openings. Like against white, choose one first move, e4 or d4, and just stick with that. Although generally I recommend e4 for most improving players, maybe up until like 1800 or 2000 or so. Because I think e4 is just a little bit more natural, simpler to play for white. It's not as subtle as d4. I think very, very important to learn how to play e4 positions first. Kind of like learning to play for the initiative and attacking, and if the opponent doesn't defend, then you checkmate them from the opening. So it's important to learn how to do that first. And so 1 move for white, and then 1 opening for black against e4, 1 opening for black against d4. I'm a believer of sticking to your openings until one of 2 things happens. Either you feel super comfortable to the point of where you're in a rut, and it's like you feel like you're just getting the same position over and over again and you just don't like it. At any point, if you don't like the positions you're getting out of the opening, that's a signal to switch IMO. Like if you don't like the position you're getting, like what's the point, right? Like, so I think that's the thing that people often kind of confuse. It's not like there are just some good openings and there's some bad openings, and it's like you better make sure you play the good openings, then you're fine. No, like not every opening works for every player. Some players do really good with the French, others don't. Some players do really well with the Scandi, others don't, right? So it's not like there's just some perfect openings out there. Very interesting endgame, by the way. Feels like white should be winning this one, though, because the bishop is just going to sack and the king is taking on... I actually played this player, Florian Hanke, in Over the Board game. It was a very interesting draw. Although I was winning. It was really sad, actually. Could have gotten an IM norm if I had won that game. Anyway, the second scenario where I would suggest switching up your openings is if you're like just getting in trouble like every game. Every game. Like there was a moment where I was like playing the French very frequently, but then all of a sudden, like every game I was just getting in trouble and people were beating me with different lines. And I was just done with it. I was just like, you know what, no more. Like I gotta play a different opening. So the short answer there is, in my opinion, I think it's good to stick to a couple openings and focus on learning those and really solidifying your knowledge. And then once you feel kind of solid, or if you don't like it, then time to learn something new. And in general, learning a new opening is a great way to kind of like revamp your chess, because you get introduced to like all these new positions. Honestly, it's fun. Like I remember when I first learned how to play the King's Indian, like I couldn't wait to get a King's Indian over the board, and that's kind of I think that's kind of a nice attitude to strive for. Like you really want to see your openings on the board. If you're not excited to like see your opening, it means you're not like fully into it, right? Like, so I would really encourage you guys, whatever openings you play, make sure that they work for you. So if that means King's Gambit, fine, play the King's Gambit. If you really like the King's Gambit, that's probably going to work for you. Like if you really, if you like those attacking positions, I think you're going to do better versus playing some like really solid, Rui that you're not a fan of. Now, it doesn't mean you should play King's Gambit forever. And a lot of players play these kinds of openings for way too long, especially the Gambits where you're kind of fighting for like tricks and stuff. But Gambits are different, right? Some Gambits have a lot of richness to them. Other Gambits, they kind of play for like 1 or 2 tricks over and over. Like the England Gambit to me is not equivalent to the King's Gambit, right? Or the Benko. You know, something like the Benko, much more difficult to deal with than like the England Gambit. So yeah, you can play any openings you want, guys, as long as they make you happy. Okay, I missed a bunch of questions. I gotta scroll up. Could I give some insight on how to play the black side of the Trompowsky? Bishop takes f6. Yeah, you know, I've played this one myself a couple of times. Let me just quickly put it on the board. Real quick, I mean, we're not going to turn this into an opening clinic, but yeah, when white takes here, you have two options. You have ef6 and gf6. Both are very playable. Gf6 is considered the more dynamic one, where you're fighting for the center with moves like c5 and then e5 or e6. And then ef6 is the solid one, where the idea is just to play bishop d6, castle, c6, f5. If white plays c4, you just take it, and you get this position. The structure is not super pretty, but it's actually very solid here. You get the two bishops, knight comes to f6, queen e7, control the e4 square, and basically black is a very solid game. So ef6 is the solid one, gf6 is the dynamic play for a win with black version. When to stop playing King's Gambit? Yeah, Jeff. I mean, just whenever you feel like you're tired of it, right? If you want to learn something new. Also, I feel like if you guys are ever in a rut or something, you feel like you're stuck. One of the best things to do to get out of that is to learn a new opening, learn a new set of positions. It'll kind of reinvigorate your interest for the game, get to study some different players, and yeah, really open yourself up to learning different ideas. Flash Spieler asked, I don't like gambits when you play e4, e5, right? Is this a case where you should switch? Well, I don't know if you should switch, right? But you can definitely do a lot of good for your own chess by like studying some of these gambits and learning how to play against them. But I would say in general, if you're not a fan, the Caro-Kann to me is a very solid opening where it's really not easy for white to kind of get that kind of game, right? Where they sack a pawn, they get this like long-term initiative or short-term initiative, and then you have to deal with it. So Caro is pretty solid. Sicilian, very dynamic opening, but a very, very good one objectively. I would say the Sicilian is worth trying for all players. How quickly did I improve in my first years of chess? I mean, not that quickly. I learned chess when I was 4.5. And when I was 13 or so, I think I was only like 1700. So I didn't like, shoot up like the kids do now. And then I hit master when I started taking chess seriously. I think I was like 16 and 2000 or so. And then I ended up getting master, I think, when I was 18 years old, getting to 2200. Guys, I have to be right back. So hang out for a sec. Put this game on. And yeah, see you guys in a bit. Alrighty, guys. So I'll be here for another 10 minutes or so, and then I'm going to pass the Dojo torch over to Scott, aka SM Pooh Bear, who will be doing Blitz Arena in just a bit. So that'll be fun. Okay, let me scroll up, see some questions. What kind of player will benefit from learning the Grunfeld at the intermediate level? Grunfeld is a solid opening. I think players of all levels can learn the Grunfeld and play it with success. Isn't e6 or h6 the second move for black in trump? No, black has a lot of options in the Trumpowski. Yeah. Like in many openings, usually both sides have a number of different options, not just one line. B-Kid, I haven't seen any games yet. How often does en passant really happen? It happens often. Very often, yeah. Or often, you know, the threat of en passant is is in the game. At what level does the French start being suboptimal as an opening? I don't recommend the French for lower rated players. So I would say if you're like under 1800, 2000, I'm not a fan of the French. I've seen many students play it and many players play it, and like they just get passive positions. Their bishop gets blocked in. I don't recommend it for lower rated players. I think it's a good opening, but I feel like you really need some some experience to handle those positions. What are the best and worst aspects of being a chess professional? Real quick, guys, by the way, we have a poll going. So if you're interested in playing the Blitz Arena, you want to vote for the time control, we got a poll going right now. You can make your voice heard. What are the best and worst aspects of being a chess professional? I mean, the best aspect is that you get to do chess all the time, which is my main motivation for being a chess player / streamer, you know, writer, course maker, or whatever, video author. The worst aspects, yeah, I have a nagging fear that one day people will just stop caring about chess and I'll just be like unemployed. I've had this fear for like years. It's kind of irrational because if anything, chess has only gotten more popular over the years, right? Like 10 years ago, it was very hard to make a living if you weren't a top player. You would just have to basically coach full time. So it wasn't a lot of work opportunities like making courses or videos or things like that. So you had to teach if you wanted to make a living. And yeah, I was always nervous that like, you know, what if something happens, right? Like we get into, I don't know, some big world war, like some huge catastrophe, and then people are like, you know, we don't have time for chess. We got to like fix our environment, or like, you know, we got to battle the alien. Like we don't have time for, you know, what if people just stop caring, right? People just stop playing, stop following it, you know, the money would run out very, very quickly. So that's kind of my fear about being a chess professional. Any recommendations for how to learn about pawn breaks as a 1500? You know, I would recommend maybe the Silman book, How to Reassess Your Chess. I'm sure he has lots of good examples of pawn breaks in that one. And if you haven't read Silman, I would say that's a great place to start for positional chess. I wouldn't recommend Shanklin's book for lower levels. I think that's a pretty high level book. And it doesn't really explain the basics. I would say it goes into really advanced stuff. How do you get something active against the Catalan? Honestly, dude, if you find out, let me know, because I don't know. It's really hard to get something active against the Catalan. It's a very solid opening. You can equalize for black. There's many ways to like equalize, but it's hard to get something dynamic. It's really not easy. In fact, a lot of players against the Catalan, they just end up going for the Benoni. And the Benoni actually is much more playable than the other lines when white is committed to g3. Because this isn't the most aggressive setup for white where they try to kill you like e4, f4, and all those other lines. So this is actually, I would say, a relatively good version of the Benoni for black. So if you really want something dynamic, I would say play this one. But in the Catalan, it's tough. No, all good, B-Kid, all good. Look, guys, all levels of players are welcome here in Dojo. And there are no stupid questions, okay, guys? Just stupid moves, right? No stupid questions. No, I don't think French is only useful in a small... There's lots of players over 1800, 2000. But yeah, in general, not a fan of the French for low-rated players. What career would I pick if I could not be a chess professional? I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah, Steve, go ahead. I love would you rather questions generally. Yeah, thankfully the pandemic helped chess rather than slowed it down. Are we doing more streams with Maya soon? I hope so. I hope so. Oh, nice answer. Nice. You like the Chess King apps? Yeah, those are great. Yeah, big fan of the Positional Chess Handbook, but that one doesn't really explain the basics like Summit does. That one I think kind of assumes you know about a lot of the strategic basics already and kind of gets into, again, higher level stuff. What do I think about c6 instead of e6 against Catalan? I think that's a different opening. If you play c6 here, that's a Slav. And if white plays g3, it's not as good against the Slav. So this isn't even called a Catalan. It's just basically called like g3 variation or fianchetto variation. And this one is not as good because black didn't close down the bishop and the c6 pawn blunts white's bishop. So against the Slav, this kind of g3 setup is not considered as good. Black can definitely take on c4 at some point. Or just develop like knight f6, bishop f5, I think also e6, very, very solid. If you get the bishop outside the pawn chain and then you play e6, that's a very solid setup. Skaklo close to 500,000 channel point, man. What a whale. What a whale. What do you want? What do you want? Yeah, guys, I'm going to be heading off very, very soon here. Oh, would I rather get loose pieces dropped off knuckle tattoos on both hands? Ouch, LPDO. Or one e4, e6 tattooed on my neck. I gotta go for the knuckle tattoos. I mean, those just look so cool. Loose pieces drop off. I mean, man, one of the nerdiest knuckle tattoos you can get. I would do that. Maybe I'll just do that without the would you rather question. All right, guys, I'm gonna be heading off here in just a moment. And Scott will be coming on in a sec as some Pooh Bear to run a Blitz Arena. That's going to be a lot of fun. Chess Latte, you can get an autograph anytime. You guys just come find me in person. And I'm going to go watch some Making a Murderer. I started watching the show last night because I couldn't sleep until like 5 a.m. And oh man, so hooked. I totally missed out. Totally missed that earlier. But yeah, Making a Murderer, oh my god, so compelling. So I'm gonna go watch that, relax, and yeah, hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. Eventually it did. It put me to sleep. Yeah, on Netflix. Cool, guys. Arena starting soon. You guys got the link in the chat. So Answer, I kind of answered this question earlier. There are no wrong openings. There are openings like I wouldn't recommend, but honestly, you can make anything. You can make anything work. It's not about being sound. It's about whether you like the positions you're getting and you understand what to do with them. So it's, yeah, I wouldn't worry about whether the opening is sound or not. You can literally play any opening up until like, GM level. As long as you can make it work. Bomb Cloud's not a real opening, guys. Come on, please. Enough with every time I say like you can play. Every time I say you can play any opening, someone says Bomb Cloud. Like, I'm sorry, guys. It was funny the first 4 times, maybe, but like no, like every time. Come on, guys. Try to interpret the stuff intelligently, right, and not literally. Please, please. Because people don't always get that you're joking. That's the problem. Like, someone sees that and they actually think Bomb Cloud is okay. that's the problem. All right, guys, I'm going to be heading off. Sorry, I can't answer any more questions. Scott's coming on in just a sec. And... yeah, why would a GM play it if we're back? Because it's a troll opening. No one plays it in serious games, guys. Come on. It's not been played in a serious game. I don't understand why people don't get this. Right? Like, it's the equivalent of like, I don't know, getting the ball in football, right? Like when they do the kickoff. You catch the ball and normally you like try to run and take space. It's the equivalent of just like taking a knee on your first yard line. And so yeah, some good teams can do that and then like win the game anyway, like taking a knee at their first yard line. But like, yeah, why would you do that? Why would you handicap yourself from the very beginning? No, it's just a troll opening, guys. Come on, it's a meme. It's a meme opening. They play it for fun, not because they actually think it's any good. Okay, guys, for the last time, I am off. Scott's coming on for the Blitz Arena. This was fun. I'll catch you guys next time, hopefully tomorrow. And yeah, catch you all soon.